Joe Biden went out Friday in a brilliant political move. Wanted to make sure that the story of his campaign rival being a convicted felon didn't have too much legs or didn't have an open field, essentially, in terms of the news. And so came out Friday. And, if there was some type of urgency to this, like if there was some type of reality based into this.
Was it a message to Israel saying, hey, the other guy's really tripped up. You better listen to me now?
No. I'm telling
on.
you that stupid moment where it's not, I guess, whatever. It's kind of funny when he turns to the camera when Trump gets mentioned after he walks off after the speech. You saw that, right? This was 100% planned, but it's the insane politics that you describe. He wanted to look presidential in the wake of Trump's conviction, as opposed to taking the opportunity to talk about him being a convicted felon.
Absolutely. These people live, and most of you won't remember this name, Aaron Sorkin's world.
Yep.
Aaron Sorkin was the creator of The West Wing. It was a fictionalized version of not just the presidency, but really of the world.
Of liberal
minds. of what politics are. And it is sort of like this notion in our society in this day and age. And that's exactly what Joe Biden was doing. I'm going to look like I'm in control of this situation in the Middle East. And then other people can, decide for themselves, as opposed to, and if you don't want to send out Joe Biden to talk about Donald Trump being a convicted felon, don't step on the story.
Right.
But that's exactly what was done. And, here's Biden outlining a ceasefire proposal in Israel that ostensibly was offered by the Israelis. By the time he made this announcement, Hamas had already said that they would sign on to this, and Israel had already said, oh, not so fast. Go ahead.
Gaza, and as long as Hamas lives up to its commitments, a temporary ceasefire would become, in the words of the Israeli proposal, the cessation of hostilities permanently, end of quote. Cessation of hostilities permanently. Finally, in phase 3, a major reconstruction plan for Gaza would commence, and any final remains of hostages who've been killed would be returned to their families. That's the offer that's now on the table. And what we've been asking for is what we need. The people of Israel should know they can make this offer without any further risk to their own security, because they've devastated Hamas forces over the past 8 months. At this point, Hamas no longer is capable of carrying out another October 7th, which is one of Israel's main objectives in this war, and quite frankly, a righteous one. I know there are those in Israel who will not agree with this plan and will call for the war to continue indefinitely. Some are even in the government coalition. And they've made it clear they want to occupy Gaza, they want to keep fighting for years, and the hostages are not a priority to them. Well, I've urged the leadership in Israel to stand behind this deal, despite whatever pressure comes. And to the people of Israel, let me say this. As someone who's had a lifelong commitment to Israel, as the only American president who's ever gone to Israel in a time of war, as someone who just sent the U.S. forces to directly defend Israel when it was attacked by Iran, I ask you to take a step back and think of what will happen if this moment is lost. We can't lose this moment. Indefinite war in pursuit of an unidentified notion of total victory will not bring Israel, will only bog down Israel and Gaza, draining the economic, military, and human resources, and furthering Israel's isolation in the world. That will not bring hostages home. That will not bring an enduring defeat of Hamas. That will not bring Israel lasting security. But a comprehensive approach that starts with this deal will bring hostages home.
Okay. I mean, I think we get the message. And I think this is a great message for, early December of 2023. It appears clear that Biden has decided he's ratcheting up the pressure. But the point is that the ratchet has been so slow. And the idea that he's going to go out, this was on the table, but it's been on the table
For weeks.
at least for
This
weeks.
is the same proposal that Israel said that the U.S. announced, Hamas agreed to, and Israel said that Hamas and the U.S. had basically changed language late in the process, which they're also kind of claiming at this point, because Biden is trying to give Netanyahu and the Israeli government an ability to say that they were victorious in this, to give them some sort of cover for their own domestic political concerns. But as you say, it's way too far gone. It's obvious that Israel has now twice basically rejected an almost identical proposal, and it's Hamas and the United States and the mediators in Qatar that are on board with this. And that's in part because, as you mentioned, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, because Netanyahu made this alliance with these far-right people, and I mean, this is his ideology too, let's be clear, but just from a practical concern about the parliamentary politics in Israel, they can break up his coalition and they said they will if he agrees to the ceasefire proposal, which is what we've been saying on the show. And anyone who has been following or has knowledge about Israel has been saying for months at this point. They called the shots. These were the practical realities of the Knesset and the governing coalition that was formed at this point as well. So Biden, I know, is wish casting that Benny Gantz takes over or whatever, but he doesn't have power in this situation. And they're all appealing to the same domestic concerns as well, which is that the Israeli public wants the hostages home, but they don't really, for the most part, give a damn about the Palestinians.
I mean, I imagine that this is also Biden's attempt to create more of a sense and to continue to sort of support the burgeoning, maybe a little bit of an overstatement of the protest in Israel to at least get the hostages back. But the problem with this is now we're going to start seeing how the same dynamic that we used to have with John Boehner and all the other Republicans who were I can't do anything because of of the crazy right wingers in my government. Look, Netanyahu is this person as well. But regardless, this is something that you do 6 months ago. And then you take the next step of actually stopping using the leverage you have, which is aid. And he basically made that impossible by already providing this aid. He made a red line about Rafah. They blew right through it. And the thing is that somehow the White House seems to think that this is going to be a foreign policy win for them. And all it does is it keeps reminding everyone that he is being ineffectual in this moment. He has arrows in his quiver that he is not using. And it just looks like he doesn't look like a statesman in this instance.
No.
It doesn't look like he's in charge of the situation whatsoever.
You think we're going to go to a pre-Oslo reality after this genocide? I mean, what kind of delusion are they trying to deal with here? And they're trying to force through this Abraham Accords deal to bring back kind of U.S. hegemony in the region. But I don't really think that's possible, especially as it relates to Israel. And also the practical realities that they should have been considering this entire time as well, including the coalition Netanyahu has created, is that when this ends, this brings a reckoning for the state of Israel, because independent investigators are going to go into Gaza and confirm all these war crimes and probably much higher death tolls than we know. And then there's also going to be a domestic investigation into security failures on October 7th, in addition to Netanyahu's corruption issues. Right. So all of this should have been taken into consideration, but it wasn't, because Biden has a massive blind spot about Israel. We still haven't cut off weapons, and this is we're 8 months into this.
And so I guess it remains to be seen what will happen. I mean, one report I read, and I have no idea about this, is that some are theorizing that, and we just saw Israel strike inside of Syria, near Aleppo, I guess. There are some who are speculating that Israel now turn its attention to Hezbollah and try and head to Lebanon,
The West Bank.
and leave, Gaza, which is, I have no sense of that. And over the next week or so, we'll be talking to some people about that. But
So there's more upright buildings there to knock over.
well, it would. And maybe Netanyahu thinks a war with Hezbollah will be more sustainable and keep him in power longer, but we shall see. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.